I didn't try to sell myself as a Christian comedian. My whole
What?
point was,
You're not a Christian comedian?
I think I'm good enough to clean my stuff up. Language is part of it. Oh, this bee comes walking in and she full of ass, so I tell her F off, Well, you can't do that on Tri-Bar.
It was my privilege to welcome Adam Carolla to our home studio, which is
Beautiful.
awesome and crazy, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we're here to talk about the dry bar and your experience in the dry bar.
I think it's just called Dry Bar, and it's angel.com.
And when I went to angel.com and then I wrote in Adam Comes Clean, there's a picture of you holding soap.
Yeah.
All right.
That's it. Okay.
So that's where
that's
people
my special.
That's where people can see. Mm-hmm. And how was that experience?
I thought it was pretty interesting. I met the guys from Angel Studios. They asked if I wanted to do a dry bar special.
When you met them, just remember?
However people meet. I don't know. They came on my show, maybe plugging something. They're interesting guys. Mm. And the dry bar thing was kind of a big deal. Like, I've talked to Jay Leno. Jay Leno sent me a text this morning, ironically saying that he saw a bit, my bit from Dry Bar and really enjoyed it, and blah, blah, blah. So I spoke to Nate Bargatze Saturday night. I just ran into him and he said, "Oh, hey, I heard doing something with the Dry Bar." And then I talked to Leno 3 days after that. And Leno's like, "Dry Bar, something." So it's a thing, it's out there.
And Nate sort of distinguishes his humor already that way, right? Does he always try to kind of play it clean?
Yeah, he actually asked if I wanted to open up for him when he comes out to L.A.
Based on the Provo thing.
Yeah,
based on the Dry Bar.
Based on my ability to be clean.
Oh, interesting.
Yes.
That's a feather in your cap.
Yeah.
I mean, Nate's doing well and he's a funny guy. And
yeah, no, I agree. I love Nate. And he, because of the Dry Bar designation, it's basically clean for, and it's pretty clean. It's not a late night, TV show set. It's cleaner than that. When I say TV show set, I don't mean a TV set, but I just mean stand-up set on a late night TV show.
In other words, something that would be broadcast nationally without affecting.
It would be cleaner than you doing Colbert or Kimmel or any of those shows. It would be more on more of a, like prime time.
Yeah.
It might even be cleaner than like ABC Network 8 p.m.
Wow.
Like it'd be even a little cleaner than that, perhaps.
And did they specify criteria that you had to meet, or did you just think to yourself, this is a challenge, I'm going to see how clean I can scrub it?
They, say, well, there's the obvious part, no shits and fucks and, none of that.
We'll just save those for the promotion.
Save those for the promotion. Yeah, well, listen, I didn't try to sell myself as a Christian comedian. My whole point was,
you're not a Christian comedian?
I think I'm good enough to clean my stuff up and make it work within these parameters.
I think you see these things as challenges.
I do.
Be as clever as possible. That's what you have to be.
Yeah. So, people sell it short in that they think it's about language. Language is part of it, but language is pretty fixable.
Yeah.
Because anyone who does terrestrial radio does like, oh, this bee comes walking in and she full of ass, so I tell her F off, It's like, that's all you have to do, right? Yeah. Well, you can't do that on Tri-Bar. Yeah. And also, what you don't really realize is it's the themes that are dirty, not the words. Mm-hmm. The words can be just deleted. It's your themes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Think about the topics you're getting into and the subject matter. And so a lot of your stuff goes by the wayside just because of the subject matter.
You can still do relationships, but you can't do sex. So I'm guessing you talk about male-female differences, something like that in there?
Yeah, I didn't do that much of that, but you can do, yes, you can talk about relationships. You can talk about your wife or your girlfriend or whatever that thing is, but it's, I didn't do much of that. I don't
Politics?
think, yeah, you can talk about politics.
Left turn lanes?
You can talk about any innocuous subject you want, but you do realize that, like, I started to realize that a lot of my stuff had sort of a edge to it.
I was going to say, when I think about you talking about left turn lanes, part of the comedy is, are you effing kidding me? That, there's no oncoming traffic and you can't help but cuss about it. And you can't turn
You're
left.
missing my point, Drew.
Okay.
Go ahead. You can not cuss all you want. It's the themes that
no, but you
screw
said
up.
there was an edge to you're talking about these things, and anger is one of the edges, I thought.
No, you can be angry.
Okay.
You can talk about left turn arrows all you want. It's just, I don't know. You have to come up with some jokes about left turn arrows, but cussing is not. It's not the cussing. It's not anything. It's the material. The subject matter.
Yeah.
It's the subject matter.
Yeah.
That's what will get rid of a lot of your, that will make a lot of your material into the pile of unusable.
Yeah.
And you don't really realize that the subject, how much your stuff is kind of edgy as a subject. And also, I kind of prefer stuff that's a little more, interesting that way,
But you have lots of reps doing, what can't Adam complain about, and ranting about things that may or may not be edgy, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of. I can complain about anything and I can do. There's still a sort of a difference between complaining about something or being funny about something and having jokes for something,
right?
And this is going to require jokes for something. So it's not going to be a sort of general complaint. I could do 20 minutes on Gavin Newsom and how much I hate him, but I don't really have jokes.
Right.
This is going to require Gavin Newsom jokes.
Understood. Isn't this a point that Jerry Seinfeld had made over the years? That if the jokes are good, you don't have to be edgy or blue? Or
I think everybody knows that. They just don't really want to do the work that it takes to do that.
I've heard him say things like that.
Oh, that? Well, look, it's more work. Look, it's more work for a fat comedian to not do any fat guy jokes.
Right.
And it's more work for a black comedian to not do any black guy jokes.
Right.
And it's more work for a woman to not go, hey, any single ladies? Or am I right, ladies? If you just go, I'm not going to fall back on any of this stuff. And then basically swearing and sort of scatological, whatever, profanity, it becomes a sort of the white man's crutch.
Did it take you a while to develop the jokes?
Yeah, I took stuff that I had and I tried to reconfigure it, and then I wrote some new stuff, and then I took some rich man, poor man, which I rarely ever do, but it's kind of a clean, it's inherently clean bit. Premise wise.
Yeah.
And I took that, I kind of dusted that off, and it went really well. I don't know. The answer is I started to work on the stuff as I was traveling around doing stand up. I started to work on it, but I could never do the full 40-minute set because I was traveling around and I was going to these places Casper, Wyoming, and stuff like that. And I would be playing some theater there, and they paid good money to come see the guy they knew,
right?
And not to be like guinea pigs for my clean set,
right?
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So I was able to. What I would do is I go, well, I'll just run about 10 minutes of it in the middle here.
Yeah.
I'll get back to this stuff.
Yeah.
And then maybe I'll do another 10 minutes toward the end, and then I'll get back to the juicy stuff. And then, so I'd never run the act.
Yeah.
So then when the day before I was going to Provo, Utah, I went to the Ice House over here, and I just got up there and I said, look, I got to do a show in the Dry Bar in Provo, and it's got to be clean. And I've never put it all
You got in front of the audience and said that? Or you went,
yeah, I did. And I said, so, the first 40 minutes, it's going to be clean. And everyone started booing. And I was like, oh man, this is bad. So I started off with something dirty, and then I slid into the clean 40, but it was good. And no one really knew that it was a clean 40, and it went well.
Good.
So I was like, okay, good. But I think other comedians are Christian comedians or clean comedians or something. So they run their act, so to speak.
People come to see that act.
Well, they run the beginning, the middle, and the end. They run the act together.
Yeah.
I was like, I did this part, I did a little bit of that, I did this, but I never put the whole thing together in order,
I get it. So let's talk a little bit about Angel Studio, angel.com. Do you talk to the guys, right?
Mm-hmm.
You talk to them at all about the philosophy of what they're doing and why they did this?
They want entertainment that you can sit down with your kids and turn on the computer and watch it with your kids. Basically.
That's just a conceit.
Yeah, just you could sit down with anyone in your family and watch comedy. That's what they want.
And they've been very, very successful.
Yeah,
turns out people like this.
Well, it turns out there's an appetite for it, and it's sort of what we saw with Trump and the election and stuff. Like, we on the coast don't think these people exist, but they exist.
Oh yeah,
there's a lot of them, and somebody figured out they have wallets too. I mean, I've been yelling at you about this for 10 years. I've been like, I don't know why we're ignoring all these. I was getting yelled at to stop saying the stuff I was saying because it was more conservative or whatever. And everyone was telling me to shut up. And I was like, look, if half the country is thinking this way, they got nothing.
Yeah.
Why aren't we trying to cater to these people?
Yeah.
Well, the smart money is on what? Go compete with The View and The Daily Show and every late night show and everything else. Why don't we go do our own thing over here? And everyone was like, you shut up. You're going to get into trouble. And the advertisers aren't going to want to pay for you. And I'm like, oh, maybe not now, but they're going to when these people start showing up.
No, they're what I call.
And by the way, we're there now.
We're there.
It's here we are. Yeah. We're here, everyone. Yeah. I got yelled at for 10 years for this, but here we are, everyone.
And they're motivated and they are appreciative.
Yes.
Like they appreciate that you hung in for those 10 years and they want to show you, they want to support you and be a part of it. Yeah. And we have found that in my streaming show that we do out of this studio, that people are just, there's this motivated audience that's so appreciative when you create content for them.
Yeah. They
makes
feel,
sense.
well, because they feel left out.
They have been. They've been ignored.
No, sorry. They've been ignored, left out, and mocked.
Right. And I would say.
And attacked. I mean, beyond mocking.
I would say the mocking was 10 years ago. Then it became vilifying. You're evil. You're bad. It's like, what? 10 years? Oh, it's so awful. Well, I'm glad we're back.
Dry Bar or Angel Studios, well, their studio, the Dry Bar Studios in the facility, they bought the sort of corner. They got a few stories.
Wow.
They're doing all their work there in Provo. You roll in, everything's good. I mean, except for the part where you'd like a drink after the show.
Sorry.
That's a bummer. But
can you have coffee?
I can.
I'm not sure.
I don't know. I probably could find a coffee.
You cannot have a drink. No.
But
I found coffee in Salt Lake, no problem.
Listen,
so I imagine that's okay.
I enjoyed it. I'm doing another one.
Right.
I have no qualms. And yes, I look at it as now it is your challenge to try to do, X amount of minutes that are basically cleaner, that an 8-year-old could watch, and you'd be fine with it as a parent. And it's a challenge, and it's fine.
And I would say mission accomplished. Well, Adam, we have a special link. You can go to drdrew.com/angel, and it will direct you right to where you need to go. You can also go to angel.com, type in the search bar, Adam.
Oh, Adam Carolla comes clean.
Adam Carolla comes clean.
I'm not racist. I am on the spectrum. I've never done a clean show in my life. How do you people take the edge off around here? Not that this is part of the act, but there's a dude up here getting a full foot rub. Double-footed foot rub. Both boots off, full recline. I don't do it. I stick with the ladies from The View.